A letter to my ex. I sit here writing you this letter in hopes of letting go of the sadness and anger that has lived within me. I write with love and gratitude, as all the experiences I've had thus far has brought me to where I currently am. I'm sorry that you had to lose a once-in-a-lifetime type of love. I'm sorry I wasn't where I needed to be on my healing journey for our love to flourish. We've loved in lifetimes before, but we've never been made to last. This time was no different than the previous lifetimes. But I thank you for all the hurt you brought into my life. I thank you for the moment that I caught you in her space, loving her the way you never loved me. I thank you for choosing your love with her in order to teach me a lesson that I had learned before, but I needed it once again. See, I did not love him the way I loved you. I loved you wholeheartedly. I gave you what I could of myself, and that wasn't enough. I thank you for not loving me the way you loved her. I thank you for being my best friend who used me to lean on when she was hurting you. You taught me how unconditionally I could love. And when I chose to walk away, I was ready to love myself. See, you taught me about my inner strength. You taught me what it meant to love myself in order to love two women in my next relationship. You taught me that I'd be strong enough for everything that was about to come my way. I now sit here strong enough and loving enough to help raise a young woman. I am strong enough and loving enough to help guide my partner into being the best mother of a preteen. I am strong enough to put myself above all else and know when I need to take care of myself. I know what real love is. I know what I deserve, and most importantly, I am able to share compassion to those who need it the most. I can meet people where they are without judgment. I can accept that some people will learn a lesson on their time and not mine. I have learned to forgive myself and others. The anger and sadness you filled my life with is now something I welcome and cherish, because I would not be loving Lori without you. I would not have been ready for the family I have now. So I sit here today, a little less broken, far more compassionate, and a hell of a lot more loving. And one of the best versions of myself. Thank you for loving me the only way you knew how in this lifetime. For you have made me the perfect partner for my Sarah, the perfect stepmom for Leilani, and the most beautiful version of myself in these last 31 years. I wrote that a year ago, and I've sat with it, and I hadn't been ready to release it. But in this next series, this new and improved Women Crush Wednesday series, it is all about empowering women and appreciating women for their struggles and who they are now. So, without further ado, I want to present the very new Woman Crush Wednesday, and the first episode is on myself, because in order to appreciate other people's journeys, I had to go through what I went through to be where I'm at now, and I had to go through heartache and really, really, truly learn to love myself so I could succeed in the relationship I am currently with. And in order to be a stepmom, for sure, I don't think I understood how challenging that was going to be. I thought because I've been a stepkid, I would know exactly how to do the whole stepmom thing, and God has humbled me. the universe has humbled me and showed me you don't know everything. And even though you think you can do a better job than maybe the relationship that you saw as a child, it's not as easy as you thought it was in your head. And I started this channel because of the heartache that I had from my ex. And eventually I will share that story. But it has taken me, it took me about a year, I would say, completely to really appreciate that I was able to go through that. And even more so now, I think the further out it gets, the more I appreciate that heartache and I appreciate that relationship for what it was in that portion of my life. Because I really would not have been the version of myself without having that to go through and without that real first heartbreak as an adult. So I am not only proud of myself, but I admire myself. I love myself. And yeah, so this very first episode is Woman Crush Wednesday featuring yours truly, Loving Lori. Thank you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, and welcome back to Loving Lori Women Crush Wednesday series. I hope you enjoyed that first little clip. Yeah, so Sarah is here with me. She will be asking me these questions. I have a few that I got from Instagram, from different friends of mine, and people that follow me on Instagram that I'm starting to get to know. So we're gonna have those questions, and then we will also have a few questions from Sarah because she knows me the most, right? How do you make that? Because I'm a little complicated. I'm a little complicated, so she might know me one day, and then the next day I'm like, no, I've never liked that before.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the new Women Crush Wednesday series. It's all going to be about whoever I'm interviewing and not just businesses. And of course, if these women own businesses, we will get into that. But I want to highlight specific people's stories. And today we're going into me. Not my whole story, because that I'll share little by little. But, you know.
All right, let's get to the questions. We're going to go Instagram questions first.
Okay.
So, Bessie LB wants to know.
Hi, Bessie. She's got a YouTube, so you guys go follow her.
When did you feel most vulnerable?
When have I felt most vulnerable? I'm already gonna start crying. Thanks, Bessie. I think, what was it, a few weeks ago, I think that's the most I've ever allowed myself to be vulnerable in front of Sarah. I'm gonna keep saying because I don't even want to say it, because I can't believe I'm gonna say it. But I felt the most vulnerable a few weeks ago when I was going through depression, and I was laying in bed. I've only told one other person that I've ever felt this way other than my therapist. And Sarah had taken Paige out, and I had been in bed for a few days. And I hadn't taken Paige out. It was already like noon. I know that's awful dog parenting, but that's just where I was at. And Sarah took Paige out, and then she was like, I took Paige out. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And then I looked at her and I said, nice, now I can die. And I don't think I've ever said that to a partner, even though I've like thought things like that before, or there's been times where I'm driving, and if you guys deal with depression, I'm not sure if you have a therapist, has ever talked to you about suicidal ideation, and that is what I have. So it's typically when you're so depressed, but instead of thinking like, oh, I'm gonna hurt myself and I want to kill myself, instead, because I I guess I'm too much of a people pleaser to even do that for myself. Not that I want to do that for myself, but it ends up becoming a I just want to die, whether it be a car hits me and I die, or I get cancer and I get really sick and I die, or something that it's not my fault, but it happens. Because sometimes the pain or the emotion is so unbearable. But I think that's probably the most I've been vulnerable.
Okay. Since we're on the subject of depression, when did you become self-aware of your depression?
I was about 18, 19, and I remember just not wanting to do anything. And it was right after high school. I was with my on and off again boyfriend, and we were kind of in one of those off again seasons. And I remember going to the doctor and the doctor asking me, "Do you ever want to like not be here?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I just broke down and started crying. And then the doctor offered me antidepressants. I think I've always dealt with depression and anxiety. I just didn't know what the word was for it. Um, so definitely at that age, I didn't start going to therapy until my early 20s, so I guess my late teens, early 20s. And that was the first time that I was like really self-aware, and I started paying attention to like what happens, like what am I feeling. And I remember the doctor telling me I should be on antidepressants, and I was like, that is not what I want for myself. And I remember having the conversation with my dad, like, hey, this is what the doctor suggested, it makes sense, I definitely feel like I am depressed. And I'm always the type of person to do research on things, so I definitely researched the hell out of depression, and I was like, okay, like what can I do to make myself feel better, even without taking drugs.
What is your deepest fear?
What is my deepest fear? Um, I think that's hard. I think that's hard because there's so many things, like, and it depends on the season of life that I'm in. I think like when Sarah and I were going through everything at the beginning of our relationship, my deepest fear at that moment was losing her. Because I was just like, God, I just found this amazing woman. And I love her so much. Please don't do this to me. Don't put me through this. And I think within our relationship, that's still something that scares me. Or even things that, God forbid this ever happen, but like sometimes I think of like, if anything were ever to happen to like, and I think you don't think these things until you're a parent, because I don't think I ever thought that. But like if anything were ever to happen to Leilani, I know how much that would kill Sarah. And you don't want that for a kid. So I think between anything happening to Sarah and Leilani, um, that would be scary. And I would hate that because I don't know how we would go on without that, whether it's me and Leilani or me and Sarah. And then from there, and I think it's become more apparent, or I've thought about it more just because my grandma's getting older. I don't know how I'll ever live without her. And I think that scares me. I think Leilani and Sarah are more so something that's hypothetical, other than when she was really sick and we thought that that possibly could happen, and we had a lot of tough conversations. But my grandma, because I think through COVID and through everything that has happened, within these last few years, even everything happening right now in Ukraine, and people talking about possibly having a World War III, you just realize how short life is. And I don't know how I'd live without my grandma. So I think those are my biggest fears, are just losing loved ones, I guess.
When you're in those dark moments,
Mm-hmm.
what do you use to lift yourself up?
When I'm in those dark moments, when I'm going through depression, what do I use? My inner strength. And I think that's like my biggest truth, because I know that nobody can get me out of it. It doesn't matter how much Sarah tries, or my family, or whatever. There is nothing about it, about depression, that anybody else can do for you. It's inner demons that we each have within ourselves if we battle depression. And it just has to be finding that light for myself, whatever that is. And most of the time, it's me finding, like, you know what, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna drink water today because I know that that's good for me. I'm going to go on a walk outside because I know being outside in the sun and in nature is good for me. Sorry, I'm all like
snotty.
Yeah, I'm not crying. Um, so, but it goes back to my inner strength, and just being able to tell myself, hey, I love you enough, and we have worked hard on becoming who we are. And there's been so many bad days, but we have made it through every single spout of depression. We have made it through every breakup. We have made it through every rough patch with family relationships. And this is not something that is going to take us down or keep us down, because we were meant to do something big. And I'm here to bring love and joy and happiness to other people, and to let other people that it doesn't matter what you've gone through, that you can make it through. And I think that is my light at the end of the tunnel, that I've done it, I can do it again, I'm strong, I'm resilient, and I believe in myself enough to get myself up after sitting in it for a little bit.
What would you say was the biggest event in your life so far that's changed the way you look at things and look at yourself?
I think there's two things. I think kind of what I started off this video with, like the breakup. Um, because I had promised myself when I was ending my very first like long-term relationship, when I was 21, and I finally like let go of my on and off again boyfriend. Um, and I told myself, if I ever got cheated on, I'm not going to do the stupid thing that I did in high school. And I'm not going to beg somebody to love me and try to prove to them why they should choose me instead of this other person. And I did that. I relived all of that in my late 20s. And I begged, literally begged and cried, and like asked somebody to choose me over somebody else. And I wouldn't accept that this person was now in love with another person. And I said, I can change, I can do this, I can do that. And it was such a huge shift, finally being able to walk away, because there was a lot of conversations that were had, like, well, if you do this, you can stay in my life forever, or if we had a baby together, you can stay in my life, and we'd be such great co-parents. And I think the younger me, like high school me, would have been like, oh my God, yes, because then one day something is going to click and this person is going to end up with me. And it took going through hurt for a year and a half for me to finally get to a place where I could say, no, I don't deserve this. I mean, granted, I still made the same mistake, but I was able to change that and finally walk away and say, I deserve better, so I need to go through this pain. And then the second thing that I am learning so much from, and like I mentioned in the beginning, being a stepmom, for sure. I think going back to, I know I mentioned this earlier, but thinking that I knew better and thinking like, well, I was a step kid, so I know how to do this better. I comparing it to how my stepmom and dad handled certain things and saying, well, I don't know why they handled it this way and that was wrong of them. They hurt my feelings, and being very self-centered in that. And then now again being humbled by the universe, like being put in the position that I'm in now. I was around the same age when my stepmom came into my life, and being a stepmom that, well, now we've got a teenager, she's not even a preteen anymore. um and now understanding why my dad made the choices he did, why my dad said the things that he did, and being able to let go of the anger and the hurt that I held on to from the relationship between me and my stepmom and my dad, and all these things that I thought, and being able to really look at that and also look at myself and be like, okay, there are certain things that I feel like I have grown. But then when I think of the relationship between me and Leilani and I really look at it, like there's parts of me that are still unhealed that I really need to heal. And I think as hard as it is some days, I'm also proud of being able to make better choices, and hopefully one day, just the same way I've grown to understand my stepmom a little more, Leilani will feel that same way about me and will know that I did the best that I possibly could, and that as we were all healing together, that not only do I want the best for her, but I'm also healing through this journey also. And I think just my relationship and the relationship dynamic between the three of us, and then even me and Sarah through this whole relationship, it's eye-opening, and it challenges me to be a bigger person and to continue to grow and to continue to learn to love in other people's ways and not just in my way. Me and Sarah have had this conversation so many times about not just showing my love language in my own love language, but in her love language. And I think even just talking about this, like, I really need to learn how to do it in Leilani's love language also.
All right, quick answers. Top 5 influential people in your life right now.
5, jeez.
Quick.
I quit. You cannot pressure me. There's one thing that I didn't, not when it comes to questions. Influential people. Oh, Jesus. Jennifer. I think I will always bring up Jennifer because she was my very first general manager at a big company that I worked for. And I know I've mentioned her in other videos, but she is amazing. And she taught me about leadership and not just being a boss. And I think the way she's always lived her life is something that I strive to do, because she is such an amazing person. 2 is probably one of my high school best friends / really good friends. Her name was Danielle. She actually passed away when we were 15, because she was this like light in the world. You said quick, but I can't be quick.
Cool.
And the day that Danielle died, the day before, me and her had gotten in a really big argument. So I didn't say bye to her and I didn't hug her. And she was always this like very positive, happy person. And when I got the call, I thought my friends were just telling me that because we had gotten in a fight and they wanted us to make up. But she did pass away. And I think she was an inspiration to me in the sense that it didn't matter what was going on in her life. She was always happy and uplifting to those around her. And she was literally like, when she was coming down the hallway, everybody talked to her. She was everybody's friend. And she always, like, she's like one of those people that feel like a warm hug. Um, 3, my mom. Um, I don't I don't think I give her, not that I don't think, I know I don't give her enough credit. And my mom hasn't had the easiest life. And I think we haven't had the easiest relationship. But the fact that she keeps going and she continues to live her life the way she wants to live her life, definitely unapologetically, um, she is who she is and she does not give two shits. And that's probably one of the things that like irks me about her. But I mean, the fact that she has gotten up and kept going every single time that life has thrown her these crazy curveballs, um, yeah, that's inspiring. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do 5 because I'm gonna keep crying and I'm gonna keep talking. 3.
Okay. Last question.
Yeah.
What makes you continue to share your stories with your viewers and your followers?
I think it just goes back to the reason that I started this. Like, I don't want anybody to feel like they are the only one. I do not want anyone to feel like they can't get through something. And even working at the restaurant now, I know that I've had so many conversations with people where they're like, "Oh my god, I was going through a breakup and I moved and I did this and or I started this," or whatever it is. Like, you connect with people on this different level and you know that, hey, oh my god, I can't believe you went through all that and you're this type of person, or I can't believe that, you know, you let somebody treat you like that. It seems like you would never do that, whatever it is. Or you went through a traumatic car accident and you're still driving, because there's some people that like they go through something and they quit doing whatever it is that they're doing. And I think the more I've done these interviews, especially when I started the Women Crush Wednesday series, what happened is that I'm sitting there interviewing these people and then I'm like, "Oh my god, your story makes me want to cry." Like, I feel that. I understand that pain. I understand, wanting, I'm thinking of Cecilia right now. Celia. Um but and how she was talking about like art is a way for her to escape pain. In high school, that was definitely me. Like, I painted all the time. You could not catch me not painting. I don't know if any of you guys will like Google this, but I had a website trying to sell my paintings. Like, my LinkedIn, which I think I've never changed since I did that, probably has the website on there and like all the crappy drawings or paintings that I did. Um, but I love connecting with people on a deeper soul level, and I love hearing people's stories, and I know I get a lot out of these deep conversations, so I just want a platform to share that with. So again, you know that you're not alone. You know that you can make it through, and you know that there is other people out in the world like you, and you are not alone, because I think it sucks feeling like you are the only person in the world feeling what it is that you're feeling. Just the same way that I said to Sarah, like, now I can die. Like, Sarah wasn't the first person that I told, and the first person that I told was my friend Maria, who's deaf. And the only reason I said it was because I didn't have to say it, because I had to sign it. So it wasn't like I was going to hear my voice saying it. And she understood. And she understood what it means to feel that way. And I'm not going to get everybody's struggle, but maybe I'm not, but someone else will. And that is why I continue to do this and share my story, because I not only want to share my story, but I want to share other people's story, and yeah, that's why.
And bonus question.
Okay.
How much do you love me?
So much. You're so much. I love you so much.
I love you.
And I appreciate you.
For asking questions, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wait, she's just asking questions because she doesn't want to start crying, and she's already crying.
I'm not crying. I'm not
Okay.
crying.
Why are you so
I yawned.
Shut up. But I do. I love you so much. And I appreciate you. And I'm really glad that God, the universe, whoever you believe in, you
Bumble
believe in
messed up.
God. Yeah, that. I don't think
Word.
Bumble messed up. I think we were way too close at one point or another.
Hey,
But it happened
I don't
for
know
a
what
reason.
we're made of, but it's the same thing.
I love you.
I love you.
Thank you guys so much for watching me cry. I hope you
Again.
guys, yeah, for the 100th time. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to share my next Woman Crush Wednesday. Bye, guys.